Picture this. You walk into a bakery and a loaf of bread costs $2 million. You come back a few hours later. That same loaf, now it's $3 million. Your money means nothing. And every hour that passes, it means even less. This sounds like a nightmare, right? But it actually happened in Germany in 1923. And the scariest part? They did it on purpose. Right now, the United States is running the exact same playbook. How a treaty destroyed a country. November 11th, 1918. World War I ended. Germany surrendered after 4 years of brutal fighting. You'd think the worst was over. It wasn't. It was just getting started. June 1919. Inside the Hall of Mirrors at France's Palace of Versailles. German officials put their signatures on a treaty that would absolutely wreck their country. And the French, they picked that specific room on purpose to rub salt in the wound. Why? Because back in 1871, Prussia, which became Germany, had beaten France in a war and celebrated their victory in that exact same hall. France wanted payback, and they got it. The Treaty of Versailles was merciless. Germany had to give up 15% of its territory. 7 million German citizens suddenly found themselves living in other countries overnight. Their military got completely dismantled. Only 100,000 soldiers allowed. Tiny navy. Zero air force. No military draft. Every heavy weapon, plane, tank, and battleship had to be surrendered to the winners. But the punishment that would really crush Germany's economy? 132 billion gold marks in payments for losing the war. Convert that to today's money, $605 billion. Nearly 2 entire years of Germany's total economic output. A brilliant economist named John Maynard Keynes called the treaty way too harsh. He said it was specifically designed to cripple Germany permanently. His warning was clear. Germany physically couldn't pay what was being demanded. In his own words, Germany can't pay this amount. She cannot give the enormous yearly tribute her enemies are demanding. Keynes went further, predicting that destroying Germany would destroy all of Europe if Germany gets forced into economic ruin. Europe cannot escape what comes next. He was so disgusted that he quit his government job and published an entire book blasting the treaty and warning about the economic catastrophe it would cause across Europe. But the real question everyone should have asked, could Germany even pay this? A debt impossible to pay. Germany's economy was wrecked. Production destroyed. Unemployment through the roof. And here's what makes it even crazier. During the war, Germany had already borrowed 144 billion marks by selling bonds to its own citizens. Kaiser Wilhelm II and his parliament had this plan. Borrow money to fund the war, win the war, then force the losers to pay us back enough to cover what we borrowed. They'd done it successfully before. After crushing France in 1871, Germany extracted 5 billion francs from them. This time, though, Germany was on the losing side. So now they owed 144 billion marks to their own people, plus 132 billion gold marks to the countries that won. A combined debt, 276 billion marks. How do you possibly pay that when your entire economy is in shambles? Here's where it gets even messier. The winners demanded gold, US dollars, or British pounds. German marks, not acceptable. Even Britain's own prime minister admitted Germany couldn't possibly pay. But France, they wanted Germany to suffer. France's prime minister wanted Germany destroyed beyond recovery. Germany was left with only one move. Print more money. But paying the debt wasn't really the goal. Something else was happening behind the scenes, destroying the economy on purpose. German citizens viewed the Treaty of Versailles as the ultimate humiliation. The officials who signed it, they got called the November criminals, branded as traitors who betrayed the nation. Against this backdrop of rage and resentment, Germany's government made a strategic choice. August 1921, Rudolf Havenstein, the guy running Germany's central bank called the Reichsbank, dropped a bomb of an announcement. Germany would print marks with no limit. Their official explanation, we need marks so we can exchange them for foreign currency to pay what we owe. But hold on, something doesn't add up here. The payments had to be made in gold, dollars, or pounds, not German marks. So flooding the market with marks couldn't actually pay off the debt. Actually, it made things worse. The more marks they printed, the less valuable each one became. which meant they needed even more marks just to buy the same amount of foreign currency. Check out these numbers. In 1921, you needed 60 marks to get $1. By late 1923, you needed 4.2 trillion marks for that same dollar. The debt they owed was exploding exponentially. So why keep doing something that clearly made the problem worse? Simple answer: paying it back was never the actual plan. A businessman's ruthless strategy. Here comes Wilhelm Cuno. He was Germany's chancellor from 1922 to 1923. Cuno wasn't some career politician. He came from the business world, a shipping tycoon. And he had a plan. Brilliant? Yes. Ruthless? Absolutely. His logic worked like this. What if we let our economy collapse completely? Then the winners can't squeeze money out of us anymore. We'll be too broke to pay anything. Massive short-term pain in exchange for permanent freedom from this unpayable debt. Secret government documents later revealed. Germany deliberately avoided fixing their currency and budget because the chaos served their strategy. Experts in Britain and France caught on. They publicly accused Germany of tanking their own currency on purpose to dodge payments. They were absolutely right. Then something unexpected threw a wrench in everything. End of 1922. Germany missed delivering coal and timber payments for nearly half a year. The commission overseeing reparations officially declared Germany in default, meaning they weren't honoring their obligations. France's president lost it, and he went nuclear. January 11, 1923. 60,000 French and Belgian soldiers marched across Germany's border. Where were they headed? The Ruhr, Germany's industrial powerhouse. This region produced 80% of Germany's steel and coal, handled 70% of its cargo transport. Germany, stripped of its military, was defenseless. Foreign troops occupied the Ruhr, but Germany's government spotted an opening, turning disaster into a weapon. Chancellor Cuno's response was radical. He ordered passive resistance. He instructed workers and officials throughout the Ruhr to stop cooperating with the occupying forces. Factories shut down. It was a government-sanctioned general strike disguised as peaceful protest. 2 million workers walked off the job. Here's the catch, though. Those 2 million workers still had mouths to feed. They needed wages. The German government completely broke. Their solution: print even more money. Cuno weaponized the occupation for propaganda. His message to the world: look at how the French are crushing us. How can anyone expect us to pay under these circumstances? It was incredibly effective. Britain and America came down hard on France. Britain declared the occupation illegal. America condemned it as brutal aggression. Germany was winning hearts and minds internationally. The price tag, paid entirely by everyday German citizens. To keep those striking workers fed, the government ran the money printers at absolutely insane speeds. Hyperinflation went into overdrive. Prices in stores changed hourly. People stopped trusting paper money completely and only wanted actual goods. Famous economist Milton Friedman had this saying: inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, but hyperinflation is different. Hyperinflation doesn't just accidentally happen. Governments create it deliberately. Germany's hyperinflation was intentional, conscious decision. The government threw its own citizens under the bus to escape debt and transform crisis into political advantage. And strategically, it worked. That 144 billion marks owed to German citizens. Inflation made it worthless. Eventually, the winning countries came back to negotiate reduced payments. But every strategy has limits. In this case, the limit was human suffering. When everything collapsed, by November 1923, Germany descended into complete chaos. Riots erupted in cities across the country. Desperate people ransacked stores for anything edible. Farmers flat out refused paper money. It was worthless. People literally starved to death. Cold political calculations crashed into brutal reality. Sure, the strategy achieved its objectives: reduced debt and international sympathy. But the human toll was absolutely catastrophic. America 2025, running the same play. Now we need to talk about what's happening in the United States right now. The parallels to 1920s Weimar Germany should absolutely terrify you. When COVID-19 hit, the US government printed trillions of dollars in emergency spending. What happened? Inflation shot up to levels not seen in decades by 2022. MIT researchers studied it and confirmed what people suspected. Government spending and money printing directly caused the 2022 inflation spike. But America had something 1920s Germany didn't: a safety mechanism. Starting March 2022, the Federal Reserve jacked up interest rates from basically 0 to 5%. They stopped creating new money. Inflation cooled off. Here's the problem. The pressure's building again. President Trump, himself a businessman like Germany's Cuno, is pushing trade conflicts and tariff battles that fuel inflation. And he's publicly demanding the Federal Reserve drop interest rates and fire up the money printers again. Translation: start printing unlimited dollars. America's national debt just crossed $38 trillion. If the Federal Reserve stops tightening and starts printing money again, that debt grows exponentially, exactly like what happened in Germany. Don't forget, our economy is sitting on multiple armed explosives right now. Housing bubbles, stock market bubbles, and crypto gambling. Dangerous financial bets everywhere. Printing more money. That's dumping gasoline on flames. Here's what hyperinflation does. It destroys debt, burns it to ashes. Does anyone actually think the US government plans to repay $38 trillion? Or is there a different agenda at work? Just look around. Venezuela, Argentina, countries living through hyperinflation right now, today. The pattern never changes. Ordinary people always pay the price. Germany, in 1923, weaponized hyperinflation against the countries demanding payment. Politically, succeeded. But millions of everyday Germans lost absolutely everything. America in 2025 is following the identical path. Crushing debt, unlimited printing. Political forces demanding the money keep flowing. The consequences are inevitable. It's just a matter of time. When they hit, remember, the wealthy don't suffer. The powerful don't lose. Everyday people bear all of it. History doesn't repeat word for word, but it definitely rhymes. Right now, that rhythm is thundering. For centuries, financial powers have used inflation, debt, and crisis as tools of control. From Jekyll Island to the Great Depression to hyperinflation, it's all connected. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Subscribe to Tiny Treasury. Because understanding history is the only way to survive what's coming. The elites know the playbook. Now you do too.